I hear some pipes and drums.
This will be our first marching band coming up very, very soon. They are the Loch Lomond Pipes and Drums and Legion Color Party.
Now the pipes and drums are all well-seasoned musicians. They're scattered from all across Ontario, have Celtic roots, and they proudly gather together wearing their own tartans. Some of them playing for just a few years, others for as long as 60 years. And Brad Fraser, who's well known in the Owen Sound area, in 2010 he formed this band in memory of his mother, Doris Fraser. But just have a listen.
Nothing like a good pipe.
Oh, I know. We've got somebody doing a Highland dance in front of us there.
We've got some stilt walkers happening here as well.
That's Carpenter Stilt Animation.
Okay. And a new outfit, first year for the Kangoo Club of Owen Sound. Lots of dancing and singing and walking and dancing and hopping, and they're on these kind of springy things.
I know. So they're from the Misfit Theatre on the top of the West Hill. It looks like fun. Maybe I should go there to work out.
Oh man, they're getting their exercise all the way down the parade route. That's
I know. Gosh, that looks like fun, doesn't it?
It looks like a sprained ankle to me, but that's just me. Anyway, they're located in the Misfit Studio on top of the West Hill if you're interested in the Kangoo Club of Owen Sound.
And I believe their studio is in the same plaza as the Chinese restaurant, and I'm sorry, I can't remember the name of it right now.
Chef Walk?
No, other side of the street, down.
Okay, yeah. Owen Sound brownies, guides, pathfinders, and rangers. Young girls riding the float. The older girls are walking side by side in lines, singing, guiding, and holiday songs. So welcome and thank you for participating to the Owen Sound brownies, guides, pathfinders, and rangers this morning.
And it's groups like this that mold our leaders of tomorrow.
They are, and it's just so great to be able to get young girls involved in, and young girls to older girls as well.
That's right.
It's always just such a great sort of formative thing to have happen in a child's life to give them friendship, comradeship, leadership, discipline, learning about a lot of life lessons.
That's right. Now we've got Grey Bruce Pride. And I can't believe it. This is the 5th year they've been in the parade. My time flies, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they celebrate, promote the history, courage, diversity, and acceptance of the LGBTQ2S in Grey and Bruce counties. They support this mandate through activism, cultural events, education, and experience sharing and forming partnerships. They respect and acknowledge the involvement and contributions of their volunteers, allies, partner organizations, and stakeholders, and they wish everyone a pride-filled holiday season.
Of course, the Pride Parade in Owen Sound, 2 years old now, and has really expanded into quite the annual event here in Owen Sound.
It's wonderful to live in such a diverse area.
Everybody waving their pride flags. Up next, I believe we have Grey Bruce Roller Derby, the Highland Dames, they're called. Going to be rolling by here pretty soon.
There they go. What a fun group.
Roller derby is a sport that goes back a ways. I remember watching roller derby on TV, and I believe that there are still professional leagues, but it's also done on an amateur level here, and man, that'd be good exercise too.
It would be. I'd like to go out to one of their matches sometimes, and I know you can find it online to see when they're playing. They are quite often at the Shallow Lake Arena.
That's right. This is the 74th annual Kiwanis Santa Claus Parade. Linda Van Alst and Rick Winger here welcoming you to Rogers TV.
And now we've got Chapman House Hospice. They have their float is with riders, walkers, live music, and of course their advertising. They have taken over the holiday tour of homes as a fundraiser.
That's right.
And I believe that's next weekend. So get your tickets and get out there.
Coming up very soon, yes. The 23rd, yes, thank you. Chapman House Oh, this is Bootleg Cretans aboard the Chapman House float. They are big supporters of Chapman House, and I was pleased and proud to be a part of a recent show at the Roxy Theatre with Bootleg Cretans.
Oh,
where we
I saw
told the
your
story
picture.
of John Fogerty and Cretans Clearwater Revival, and these guys are just fantastic. If you ever get a chance to see Bootleg Cretans, you need to.
They are. I was
You need
wondering
to
when
get
I
out.
saw the lineup where my friend Kevin Dandino was, why he wasn't in here this year.
The
But that
Revoker Shrine
explains
Club
why.
now. Hopefully they haven't passed us by already here with their selection of many race cars, many bikes, many motorcycles, and
Oh,
trucks
I
and
still
trailers.
see them coming way up the
Okay,
road.
all right. Once again, we're talking about Chapman House and what a wonderful addition to the community it has been, not just for Owen Sound, but for all of Great Bruce as well.
Everybody loves these little cars and
Yeah.
motorcycles.
These
and-
guys have got the best gig in the parade. They get
I
to
know.
drive these little bikes and cars and whatnot, but they do a lot of work to earn the right and the privilege to run those little mini trucks and motorcycles and whatnot with
That's right.
The Remoka Shrine Club here.
And I don't know where we would be today if it weren't for different service clubs that help out all the children and other needy people in the areas.
That's right. It gives people not only a chance to give back to their community, but a chance to meet other like-minded people in their service group. And oh wow, they're rolling right by our parade stand here.
Motorcycles, cars. Now we've got the McLaren's Pipes and Drums coming. And this is an interesting pipe band. They can trace their name back to the late 1890s and 1900s. That time they performed out of Wyerton, and they were organized by J.A. McLaren, who operated a music hall in Wyerton. Members from Graham Bruce counties. And I just want to take a minute because Lorne Hambley, I knew him well. He wrote this poem. He belonged to the pipe band. It's a verse from one of his poems. It said, "So let us give thanks for this piper long gone. I'm sure that in heaven his band marches on to perform for the angels in that distant land, the pipes and the drums of McLaren's pipe band."
Very nice. And Lauren wrote that back in 1996.
Got more sponsor banners coming through. And these are talented children carrying these from the concert choir, the children's choir.
It's a while ago.
Now I believe we've got the scouts coming, the first Own Sound scouting group.
And it's a scouting musical Christmas.
They're well
All these-
bundled up.
Oh, very bundled up. They have to be riding on a float on a chilly morning like today.
Did you ever go on a float in a Santa Claus parade?
I did. I have been on a float before in the Santa Claus parade, and it's always a lot of fun. And depending on the weather, I've done it in everything from cold to rain to slush to whatever. But when you're on a float in the parade, it's just so neat to be able to see all the smiling young faces, especially along the parade route. Everybody, as you said before, Linda, is just so excited, getting all worked up for Santa's arrival.
Now I think we've got the Own Sound girls ice hockey team. I think it's the Ice Hawks coming, and they're rocking around the hockey nets. I see a snowman. So years ago, Rick, when I was in high school, that's the first Santa float I was ever on.
Okay.
And a service club, which is no longer here, they were, I don't know if they were the Beatles or who they were, but myself and a friend, we were the go-go dancers in our little cages on the
Did you have the go-go boots and the whole deal?
The whole deal, and I have to say I was much thinner and much younger then.
I bet you were just rocking it as a go-go girl.
It was fun.
Yeah. Well, it would
fun.
keep you warm too, wouldn't it?
It sure did.
Did that go-go dancing here. Harold Sutherland Construction providing a big lift here for, I believe, as you said, these are
the Ice Hawks.
The Ice Hawks.
And these girls won a number of championships last year, and my young neighbor, Amy Dubosc, should be on there somewhere, and she's a goalie.
Okay.
These girls are just amazing.
They've got various levels, obviously, of hockey, and according to age, and that's a big organization. Good for them.
It is.
For being a part of.
And the hockey moms, the hockey dads.
Let's do a shout out to the hockey moms and dads too. Yeah.
Boy, they have to be dedicated.
That's right.
The number of miles they put on, and getting them out to practices and training.
And those early mornings, those early cold mornings. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. It's what Tim Hortons commercials are made of.
That's right. Yeah, Frosty's been busy working the street here as well, I see. Saying hello to everybody.
I think we should have East Ridge Community School. It's Owen Sound's junior school now, and of course schools have changed a lot in Owen Sound in the last few years.
That's right, yeah, with the amalgamation of the secondary school into Owen Sound District Secondary.
So East Ridge, of course, is the former OSCVI.
Right.
Big school for all those little children.
It is, and I've been in there before, and you can easily get lost in those hallways, especially if you're just a little kid. But the faculty and staff do a good job keeping everybody on track and where they're supposed to be.
It looks like Whoville there.
Yeah.
And of course, this year's theme is a musical Christmas.
Okay. And that would be from The Grinch, obviously.
One of my favorite Christmas movies.
Me too. Now, which version do you like the best? The original one with Boris Karloff's voice or the Jim Carrey update?
Oh, I like the original.
Okay.
Yeah.
The Jim Carrey update was very good, though.
Well, it was, and
brought it more up to date and live action and live actors and
he was
an amazing Grinch.
But I just like Boris Karloff's voice.
I know. The original, it's what we grew up with, right?
It is. Now we've got the Owen Sound Lions Twirlettes. They formed in 1953, and they've been in every Santa Claus parade since. Their members range in age from 4 to 15, and they practice at Hillcrest School every Monday night. They wish everyone a very Merry Christmas. I always wanted to be a twirlette. Never got the chance. I don't know if I could swing those batons without hurting somebody.
It's got to be tough to twirl your baton on a cold morning like this.
For sure.
The girls are doing a good job here.
And everybody loves to see them as they're going down the street. Of course, they have the youngest ones towards the end. Everybody loves seeing those little ones.
And groups like this will get to participate in Santa Claus parades all around the area. And of course, there are going to be a number of them around the area over the next few weeks. If I can put a little bit of a plug in, if you go to any of the Bayshore Broadcasting websites, including Country 93, you'll see Santa Claus listings and find out when the parade is and what time of the day it is.
All right, and of course they can hear you in the mornings on Country 93.
Thank you, yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, because this is the first one. This is only the first of many, many parades here.
Right, now we've got Crimestoppers.
Leads the Lion. They call him Leads the Lion because they're always looking for leads on crime, of course, and volunteers handing out candy. And I had heard recently that Crimestoppers are also looking for a number of board members. They're looking for volunteers to be board members. If that's something that interests you and you have some extra time, something you might consider.
And now I think it's the At Last Forest School, which is quite a different take on education.
It is. And, you know, in this day and age, especially when there's so much emphasis on the environment, it's great to have adults and children concerned about the earth and working with it to try and preserve what we have. Now we should have Cubby coming up here.
I can see
mascot
him.
of the Owen Sound Attack.
I can see him.
The
Yay,
Attack,
Cubby.
having a pretty good season so far with their still relatively young team.
Everybody loves the Attack. Owen Sound has always been a sports town. Hockey, lacrosse, baseball were the big ones.
That's right. Well, the Attack are such a big part of this community in terms of their community service as well. I don't believe we have any Attack members out to the parade because they were just playing last night and they've got another game tonight and they played on Thursday night as well.
So they're resting up this morning.
Up for tonight's third of 3 in a row, but they're always out at the schools and always helping.
Rolling Hills Farm.
Right, a walking group leading a miniature pony.
Oh, look it.
All decorated up for Christmas.
I'm going to say, isn't she cute? She looks, I'm sure it's a she. She looks so sweet.
It's got to be a she, yes.
Yeah, I don't know.
Some decorated wheelbarrows as well.
And this is an equestrian farm in Georgian Bluffs, and they do riding lessons and different things, board horses.
Okay.
But it looks like they've got lots of young children involved in it, so that's great. Now we've got the dock.
92.3 The Dock. Always a big part of the parade and one of the parade sponsors as well.
I know my friend Diana Mater is on there. She's not looking. She said she'd wave, but she's not. She sees us.
Yeah.
She sees us.
They're looking pretty comfortable on their float.
Yeah, I wonder what's in their
cold,
mugs.
but comfortable.
Yeah.
I think Diana was making a bit of a preparation this morning. For,
I saw that.
For all
yes,
of her,
I saw
all of
that.
her float mates there to make sure everybody stayed warm.
Yes. So now we've got Georgian Bay Cheer Athletics. Now this is the first business that's been dedicated to the sport of cheerleading in the Grey Bruce area. They offer both recreational and competitive cheerleading. We've got approximately 30 walkers cheering, strutting, and dancing, getting the crowd motivated.
Now that's something to see.
That's a lot of cheerleaders.
It sure is. Maybe they'll stop and do a cheer here.
Well, they were just before they got to our vantage point.
Oh, we missed them.
Yeah. The Midwives of Grey Bruce, staff and client volunteers dressed up as characters from the show Call the Midwife.
Why are they doing it when it's nowhere near?
They're looking pretty good.
Somebody pushing a baby buggy?
Yes.
You don't see buggies like that very often anymore.
No. And that child in the carrier in front of Dad there looks pretty warm and toasty.
Yeah. Providing a valuable service to us here in the community. Next, we have the Kincardine Community Concert Band coming up. They are led by Mary
Kloosterber.
Kloosterber, a nonprofit community group that provides quality musical entertainment for various activities, including Kincardine's Summer Music in the Park concert, parades, Scottish events, and seniors events.
Now, they have won gold at both the Kiwanis Music Festival and at the Rotary Music Festival in Walkerton. Their eldest member is over 80 and the youngest one is 12.
Wow. Now we have another Shriners Club lined up here, the Bruce Shrine Club as well. And they've got, they're all done up in their clown regalia. And they're looking for pop cans and returnables so that they can help kids be kids. Once again, another great community group here in Grey Bruce. And kids are always the focus of the Shriners Clubs.
That's correct.
Whether it's Shriners Hospitals or various initiatives, people giving back to their community, giving their time and their passion.
And some people have asked before why we have their trailer in the parade, and that's in case one of their vehicles break down, they can just get it loaded up and out of the way so the parade can keep going.
Yep. Bruce Shriners Club.
They look like they're having a lot of fun. Now, I wonder if all the Shriners are going to get together later. I would guess that they would.
Yep, having a great
Have
time.
some fun.
They're just rocking that trailer. I'll tell
They
you.
sure are.
All right. Mix 106.5. A part of the parade here again today.
Who's driving?
John Zagrodnik is driving for the moment, and as well, Country 93.
Of course,
that
which
would
you're
be
part
Aislinn.
of.
That would be Aislinn, who's our summer cruiser person.
Aislinn
and,
Robbins, I know
who's
Aislinn.
going to her first year of broadcasting school at Conestoga College.
Good for her.
Yep.
I remember when she was
we couldn't
like,
talk her out of going into radio for some reason. She really, a great young gal.
and of course her parents run the On Sound Animal Shelter.
That's right. Exactly. Yeah.
So I believe we've got Central West Side United and First United Church coming. They have a nativity scene and they've got some live music, some carols for us.
And a puppy.
And a puppy. All dressed up with this little jacket on.
Yeah, walking nativity scene here.
We've got those shepherds, the wise men.
Yeah. Oh, they have a float here as well. Nice looking float, actually. Now there is a float competition. There are judges who judge the
There
various
are, and the
floats.
judges are upstairs over there somewhere. I'm not sure exactly which building they're in, but I know they're watching from where they're nice and warm and put their
Nice and
papers
warm.
out.
Yes.
Yeah. And I know the Queen King there, Tanya. Everybody's having a great time. Participation Lodge Grey Bruce. And again, another seasonally decorated float. And a shout out to all these people that are pulling these floats and the big trucks that have the participants on, because their time, everything is all donated.
That's right. It takes a team effort to be a part of Kiwanis Santa Claus Parade here in many, many ways, whether you're a participant or a part of the Kiwanis organizing the parade.
And St. John Ambulance are coming along. And boy, they're such an important part of anything that goes on in the area.
That's right, with training, first aid training. And also providing medical assistance for special events with their first response unit here.
They have a great training facility both here and I believe the other one is in, I was going to say Walkerton, but I think it's Hanover.
And they've got a sick little bear on the gurney behind there. I'm hoping he's
dear.
going to be okay.
Me too.
He's been getting St. John's first aid, obviously. He's going to be fine.
I think so. The
Pretty
meeting,
interesting to see all the snow on top of that unit.
yeah,
there. It tells you what we've been going through here in the Grey Bruce area over the last
yes.
couple of weeks.
The meeting house. The truck decorated with angels and a nativity scene. Oh, look at how shiny those angels are.
Oh, yeah. Just sparkling in the sun there with their halos.
It's wonderful to see the work that goes into the floats. A lot of thought, a lot of work. A little guide's riding there up on top of Dad's shoulders. Looks like he's sleeping, actually.
It's well, at this point in the parade, from our vantage point, they're kind of almost to the end of the route, and it can be a long haul, especially if you're just a little guy.
It is, and depending where they come from, because people come from all over Grey Bruce for the parade.
The Senior B North Stars lacrosse team now representing lacrosse from the minor players up to the Senior B team, of course. Always a successful franchise, the Senior Bs, and truly the city's team operated by volunteers and supported by the community. Owen Sound North Stars lacrosse has deep roots in the city and have been a proud lacrosse community for several years with many more to look forward to.
And of course, both boys and girls now. It's wonderful.
Yeah, that's right. As you mentioned before, Linda, Owen Sound is a hockey town, a lacrosse town, and a baseball town.
That's right. And I have to tell you, Rick, I can still throw a lacrosse ball pretty good.
Oh, can you now?
Oh, yes. With two brothers who played lacrosse, you had to learn. The Owen Sound City Band.
One of Ontario's oldest established community bands, founded by William Iles in July 1920, shortly after the city's incorporation, and continued to provide the soundtrack to the scenic city, playing for parades, regular concerts in the parks, in Harrison Park especially, radio broadcasts, fundraisers, regional town fairs, schools, and senior centers. And they're available and ready to play. If you need a concert band, drop them a line. Funded by the City of Owen Sound, band membership is open and free. City Sound Owen Band, Owen Sound City Band.
We didn't hear much of them, but I know they sound pretty good. And it's lovely hearing them down the park in the summer.
Oh, it is. In the gazebo there.
Sandcastle Theatre.
This is one of a couple of different youth theater groups that we're lucky enough to have in the area, giving kids a chance to learn new things and learn self-confidence and learn about theater and learning about working with each other. And they've got shows coming up in Port Elgin and in Owen Sound as well. They're doing Sleeping Beauty, the Panto.
And Sandcastle Theatre also do a number of plays through the year educating kids.
That's right. Now, they had a scary-looking dragon on the front of their float there, and that's because one of their shows, too, is Game of Thrones.
Yes.
And
now,
they do a Christmas panto.
Yes. Talented. It's great for kids to get involved in it at that age. We've got the Owen Sound District Secondary School coming up.
They're always rocking it on the back of a big transport truck here and having a good time.
They are.
Oh, yeah.
They're having fun.
They are the Wolves, the DSS Wolves. And they're rocking that float.
They sure are. I have a feeling my neighbor's some of his grandchildren may be on there because he was asking me last night what time the parade was. So I have a feeling they were coming in to watch.
Now it's time to get funky.
They're not going to get cold.
Nope, I don't think so. They're probably working up a sweat by the time they're done here today.
Warm up this time. Warm up this time.
I think we have Elf on the Shelf coming from the Sydenham District Optimist Club.
And we are getting close. I think we are getting close to seeing Santa here.
The Elf on the Shelf, they're depicting mean that elves don't just sit on the shelf, they do a lot of work.
And that's the Optimist Club.
Sydenham District. Only I don't believe it is, Rick. I think
No.
the elves have...
No. We've got a
this
school
is-
band here.
oh.
This is the OSDSS band here, their concert band.
I was just a little too fast.
Yep.
Okay, now we've got the Optimists coming.
Okay. Now, Elf on the Shelf is something that's really developed in the last few years and is a big thing for kids and kind of a useful tool for parents, too.
I think so.
Elf is really helpful in terms of helping the kids stay behaved over the Christmas season because, let's face it, they can get pretty excited. And,
Oh, my gosh.
and maybe sometimes a little too much sugar every now and then. So, yes, these are the Optimists, and they're Elf on the Shelf. But they don't just sit on the shelf. They are very active in the community.
You go up to the orange section.
And again, their focus is with children.
That's right. With breakfast clubs and kids camps.
Oh, they're selling their evergreen wreaths again this year. So
now
check
are the
that
Kiwanis
out.
doing the Christmas trees again this year?
Oh yes, Christmas
Okay.
trees will be starting very shortly.
Okay, very good.
So of course our Christmas tree sales are on the west side of Owen Sound in the bowling alley parking lot beside
Okay.
the real estate office, and they're
Yeah.
always the realtor there is generous enough to donate the property for us. Well, I guess it's Northridge.
Big brothers and big sisters of Owen Sound District now. Do great work for so many children in the area. Always looking for help, always looking for big brothers and big sisters to help littles.
There are so many children waiting right now for a big brother, big
And you
sister.
don't have to, you really don't have to donate a lot of time.
No.
Less time than you would think.
That's right. So if you can help out, give them a call.
Jason, Cranny, and Buster now promoting Shop with a Cop for the food bank during Police Week in May. This is the Community Services Officer.
And I think they do that in conjunction with the Optimists Club. I think they sponsor that.
Okay.
Shop with a Cop.
And I think we are getting close. Everybody's
Mrs.
getting
Claus.
pretty excited here because I think there's only one left to come. And we know who that is.
And I think Mrs. Claus is leading the way.
Yep, there she is on the far side of the street. Ladies and gentlemen, here he is, the big guy himself.
And a number of Kiwanians who walk along the side of the float.
Kiwanis of Owen Sound with a good-looking unit there. And that's your president, I'm presuming, hanging out the
That's the Lieutenant Governor and the suit.
the
And
Lieutenant Governor. Okay, and there's Santa Claus.
our president will be hanging out the other side of the window. Ho, 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 hi, Santa. Wow. Well, what a parade that was.
Don't you always still get a rush when you see Santa Claus?
You do.
It's
You
just,
do.
there's just something about the big guy that just makes you feel like a kid again, right?
That's right. Lots of fun. All right, let's throw it out to Rhonda on the street.
Squish together, okay? And everybody face her. Hi, we are with three lovely ladies that watch the Santa Claus parade. What are your names?
My name's Wendell, and I'm also a boy.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
I apologize. And you?
I'm Peyton. I'm a boy, and my name's Grayson.
I apologize, guys.
okay.
You know what? My son has long hair. I shouldn't make that mistake. Okay, so what was your favorite float in the parade today?
Mine was the Santa float.
Awesome.
Mine was the ambulance.
The ambulance, very cool.
Mine was the cheer.
The cheer club. That was pretty awesome, wasn't it? The cheer that
Because our sister is in it.
she is? Awesome. Awesome. So, you guys, do you have your list ready for Santa?
Yes, I do.
What's the biggest thing on there?
Probably some like board game type things.
Awesome.
A hoverboard. A hoverboard.
A hoverboard. Wow, that would be awesome.
I'd say Lego.
Lego? Everybody loves Lego.
Guns.
And Nerf guns. Very popular choice. And do you guys put cookies out at Christmas?
Yes, we put cookies and milk, and we have a certain plate.
Oh, very nice. A special plate.
And also we put peanut butter balls out
For who?
for Santa.
I think he likes your house. Well, say Merry Christmas to everybody.
Merry Christmas.
And I also put cookies out and carrots for the reindeer.
Carrots for the reindeer. You can't forget the reindeer, right? I mean,
That as well.
awesome, awesome. So, say Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Back to you, Rick
Okay,
and Linda.
wow. You know what's so amazing at the end of the parade? How quickly people disappear.
Oh, I know. Once Santa's gone, it's like everybody else is yesterday's news. So, no, a wonderful Santa Claus parade. I've been trying to do our social media post here, the Instagram and Facebook, and it's not working. I think my phone's too cold.
Oh, well, that could be it. It is rather chilly here.
It was, but it was a wonderful morning. Thank you very much for inviting me again, Linda.
Well, I'm glad you could come and help out. Now, what was your favorite part?
Oh, my favorite part, there's a number of great floats, and you know, one of the most infectious of them is that group of students from OSDSS who are always just get the energy going. But how can you vote for anybody besides Santa himself?
Well,
I mean, he's the man.
I know.
Right?
I
and
know.
Mrs. Claus, let's give Mrs. Claus a lot of credit as well.
Well, she's probably works hard all year long.
Well, and let's face it, she's kind of the glue that holds it all together, right?
Exactly. Yes, a typical household.
Yeah. No, it's been a wonderful day, and we're so glad that the weather cooperated with us here, and I'm not that cold actually.
No,
It's
I'm not
too
bad. I'm not bad at all. The
Dressed-
sun's
dressed in
beautiful.
layers. Yeah, we got on the sunny side of the street here today, and that made a big difference. And yeah, we were happy to bring the coverage of the 74th annual Kiwanis Santa Claus Parade to you here on Rogers Television.
And of course, you'll be able to watch it. It's going to be aired. I don't know the dates, but it'll be aired many times before Christmas. So you'll be able to watch it. If you were in a float, you'll be able to watch it
Yeah.
and catch it. And sorry, Mark, I didn't catch that. Okay, we're going to throw it back out to Rhonda on the street.
Okay.
This is Rhonda Brown with Rogers TV and Owen Sound, and at the 74th Annual Kiwanis Christmas Parade. Thanks so much for joining us, and it was a spectacular day for 2019, and we'll hope to see you next year. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year from Rogers and everybody that works there.
Okay, well, thanks, Rhonda, for being our voice on the street, our eyes and voice out there with talking with all the crowd. Rick, thanks so much for helping out
Oh,
today.
you're welcome. I love Rhonda's elf hat, by the way.
I know,
Yeah.
it's great. And you know what? Just a big shout out to all the volunteers, from the Rogers volunteers to the Kiwanis and Friends and everybody who's helped out this year.
Yeah, very, very appreciated, and thanks to everybody for coming out to the parade as well, and to all of the volunteer organizations who put so much time and effort into staging the 74th Annual Kiwanis Santa Claus Parade.
That's right. And happy holidays to everyone out there, from Rick and I and all the staff at Rogers.
Merry Christmas.
We won't empty it in, but we'll just set it in. So this is what we end up with. Look at that.
Wow.
That is garden gold.
Yep.
There's a nice chunk there breaking up. But this also includes the animal manure waste from our chickens and fowl and sheep in the barn. It's also composted in with this. I have big composting units out near the barn,
Oh, yeah.
plus a manure pile that the horse gives us.
Okay. Maybe
Anyway,
we'll have to
this
get a
is what it
picture of
ends
that.
up with. Now, if you were a plant, wouldn't you
Love it.
grow in that?
Yeah.
I'm feeling very regretful for the dirt that my plants are growing in. It doesn't look anything like that.
Struggling with,
I don't think they have soil. I think they just have dirt. But one of the signs that I saw as I was walking through your gardens was the word sheet. S-H-E-E-T enriches the soil. So what is sheet?
Sheet composting is lazy man's composting. We have a large elm tree here. All the other elm trees around have died. They grow up and they die. And this one is holding on. And I think it's because of sheep composting. And if you could look at the base, you would see our lasagna composting all around the base. So whenever we have grass clippings, dead-heading material, even wood chips or whatnot, we sprinkle them under the tree, and it builds up its own compost. We don't touch it after that. Just nature, the microorganisms come up from the soil, they're worms and whatnot, they do their business, and it makes a lovely compost and a mulch.
And feeds that plant.
And feeds the tree. And they say a healthy elm shouldn't be attacked by the Dutch elm disease.
Oh, really?
Makes them stronger.
Fingers crossed.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Fingers crossed.
Wow.
So we're going to use this, and we'll show you how to make good use of this compost
Oh.
in making soil.
Excellent. So we will be back after these messages with some more information from Bill for, what is it, dirt to soil and
Dirt to soil.
soil to compost? No. We'll be back.
Our ancestors came here from France to build a better life. We lived here happily for generations. Until the British decided they wanted our land. The men were called to a meeting and then imprisoned. They demanded we swear an oath to their king and took everything, regardless. We were forced from Acadie, the only home we knew. Mon Acadie n'existera plus.
From 1755 to 1763, over 10,000 Acadians were ripped from their homeland. Despite this, Acadian culture endures in Atlantic Canada.
Attack action on Rogers TV.
Are you the type who would keep going or stop? It's not easy to stop when you have an addiction. Legalizing cannabis won't stop addiction. It trivializes its consumption. Let's be vigilant. If you need help, visit portage.ca.
Welcome back to Gardening with your local experts with Mary Jane and Rhonda, and we are at Keppelcroft with Bill Loney and his intern all the way from France, Nolan, and she's heading home soon, unfortunately. We'll hope to see her back. But we just wanted to say, too, that we are in just outside of Big Bay, or part of Big Bay, really. If you come up for ice cream, you're going to want to stop in at this absolutely beautiful garden. And Bill, your hours generally 10 till 5,
right.
And it's by donation.
By donation, yes.
Okay, and it is definitely worth the drive to Big Bay. The ice cream, not with, you know, everybody knows about that stuff. But this garden, if you want some information and look at what you can do with a garden, it's spectacular. So we're here now and we're going to compose our soil.
That's
Put it
right.
together.
Yes,
Okay.
good word to use, compose it. This is the soil. Once we dig a hole in the ground, you'll see we have plenty of these small, hard, flat pieces of shingle rock. And we take that and we screen every bit of it. Nolan, if you'd like to do the screening here, and we'll just give you an idea. And we take out a few twigs and whatnot. And there we are left with beautiful, beautiful treasures. And those treasures we use.
What I'm having a hard time imagining is that when I walked through your Keppelcroft garden area, it took me an hour just to walk through it. And I cannot imagine how many hours it took you to screen the dirt, to make it into soil, to produce these magnificent gardens.
Well, it's been quite a few years, let alone hours. Now there's the stone. Now that is not waste. I was just saying that you should not let any biomass leave your property if you're a good gardener. And this will be used to mulch the flower beds. Now on with making the soil.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got our screen.
So dirt.
Dirt.
So this is dirt.
This is dirt.
Okay.
All right, Owen. We're going to add some peat moss.
Peat moss.
When I say, if this is about 3 shovelfuls of local native soil, and I emphasize that's really important, and let's say we have 3 shovelfuls in there, we'll put a couple of shovelfuls of peat moss to mix with it.
This makes it lighter?
Yeah, there's no nutrient value in this peat moss. It's simply a conditioner for the soil. It makes it lighter, but it also helps retain moisture, which is really interesting.
What is peat moss made of?
It's made of moss, sphagnum moss, from, in this case, from Quebec or maybe New Brunswick. Lots of countries no longer use it because it's not an infinite resource, but in Canada we have huge bogs of it.
Oh.
So we're still using it.
Oh, we're lucky.
Now, what I was saying about the first soil or first dirt that we used, this is the native soil on the property. Sorry about the dust.
That's okay.
That's why we wear aprons.
So
we are prepared.
I really believe that the microorganisms in the soil on the land that you're working should be included in the soil you're mixing. We're not making an artificial mixture. We're making good soil to plant in. So we want to make sure that our new mixture will also contain some of the soil that you're working in on your property. So there's our peat moss. Now we're going to add some sand. This soil here tends to be a little bit clay, and so this is just beach sand. You can buy bags of sand, you can buy play sand, which is fine, thank you. And although in actual fact, builder's sand is better. All-purpose sand has sharper points, and if your soil is a little bit clay in it, it prevents the clay from clotting together.
Oh.
So play sand is not necessarily the best, but it's better than nothing.
Yep.
Because the particles in the clay sand are round, and the particles in the builder's sand are sharp and jagged, and they hold the clay soil apart. Whereas the round particles with clay sort of join on with them and could make it cloggier.
Where do you get builder's sand?
You can buy it at any of the lumber yards.
Okay.
And they call it all-purpose sand,
all-purpose
as
builder's
opposed to play sand.
Okay.
Either is good for lightening up your soil a bit, and it's good for drainage also. And then, of course, the magic here, we'll put a couple of shovelfuls of our good homemade compost. Maybe put about 3 in.
When I was a kid, my mother always had open air compost piles in our backyard, and she would go out with a pitchfork every once in a while.
Move it around.
And we used to always watch where that pitchfork was going.
So the compost is the magic. Now at this point, you are assessing the needs of the plant you're going to plant, or the garden you're going to make. Some plants, of course, just thrive on lean soil, so you don't need so much compost. If I'm planting canna lilies, or if I'm planting tomatoes or something like that, I want a rich soil, so I'm going to put in more compost. Indeed, one time we had so much compost in the soil that our zinnias were 5 feet tall.
Oh.
So you can just vary it from that and make it as rich as you want or as lean as you want. And this is what we put. After we dig the holes in our rocky ground and we screen out the rocks and we save the soil, and then I amend that soil just as you see here. And then I put newspaper around the hole, wet newspaper, on the grass and around the hole. And then I fill that hole in the gravel soil with this mixture. And then I put the rocks. I sometimes put plastic around, and then I put the rocks around as a mulch. Then I only have to water and weed the hole. And any gardens that we have, we can look after. I've found that if I make big perennial beds, eventually the weeds and the grass get away on us. And it's a real chore keeping up.
Yeah.
But this is a shortcut.
So the newspaper, you put that in, you've got your hole dug where
Right.
you're going to plant. You line it all with newspaper.
Well, usually I just bring it over the lip and down as far as I think grass roots and weed roots would reach.
Yep.
And then, and there are other modifications in the holes, and I could maybe explain that at a later date.
Okay.
Doing that.
So this is what you, I mean, if you have plants that you probably separate and propagate in another area.
Yes.
But if we're going to a nursery and we're buying plants in a pot, you still would put this kind of soil in the hole, even though the plant is in the potted stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you know the hanging pots you buy, you take them apart. You know you have to keep watering them all the time.
Yes.
And you have to keep fertilizing them with usually chemical fertilizer.
And that's because there's nothing in that soil.
That soil is not soil.
Right.
Okay.
It's all artificial. You've got perlite, vermiculite, sphagnum moss. And what I usually do, any plant I get in as a hanging plant, I bring it home, I find a large pot, I mix up really good batch of soil, I set the hanging pot plant out of the pot and I put it into a pot that's on the ground.
Okay.
And fill it, and it'll last all year. Cut it off, put it in your greenhouse or wherever for the winter, bring it up next year, you've got another plant to start.
Oh my goodness.
So those plants you spend a lot of money on, a lot of them will survive the winter.
I didn't realize there wasn't the nutrition in the actual pot.
No. That's why we all buy these beautiful flowering pots, and within 3 or 4 weeks, oh, what's happened to my petunias?
Yeah, how did
They're
I
all straggling, they're not weak. If you go other places, you'll see their pots are still filled and blooming. They're really stuffing the fertilizer to them.
Oh, I see.
And when you go home and you stop doing that, they have nothing to grow on.
Now I understand what I've been doing wrong. So it's really using this kind of soil mixture that's really going to help the plants survive.
Yes.
So it's actually really worth all the time and effort to put it together.
And the soil is alive when you see live creatures in it.
Yep, there's a little
Well, we all know how important worms are.
Yep,
yeah,
and
certainly.
there he is.
So the rule is in the garden, and I think it's an old Chinese rule, you feed the soil will feed the plants. Don't feed the plants, feed the soil.
Wow. That's the most important step.
If you put chemical fertilizer on your soil, you're only feeding the plants. You're mining the soil. You're just making use of it as any kind of a medium to grow something in. But if you actually put food into the soil, you're improving the soil, and that's feeding your plants.
Now, if you already have a garden that's already growing in semi-dirt and you want to nurture the dirt, but it's already full of plants, how do you get this into the soil around, the dirt around the plant?
You just make a more stronger mixture with the compost, and you can just set it around on top, or you can just cultivate it in lightly around. And then over the years, it'll build up.
Well, I understand that tilling the soil or tilling the dirt is not necessarily a good idea because it could damage the roots.
Well, it can, but it also loosens the bond between the soil that's already there and your new good soil that you're putting in. It's like joining two, it's like glue. It's like joining two things together. And also the water that you water the plants will get down into that soil, the original soil better, and it'll take the nutrients from your new soil on top. So you don't dig deeply. You know, the closer you are to the plant, the less deep you dig.
Yes, yes.
And lots of plants can take root trimming.
And when you're transplanting, because I have great plans of transplanting this fall and next spring, so really what I need to do is get really good soil when I do that transplanting, not the chemical fertilizer.
That's right. Now, if you don't have compost handy, then buying the bags of sheep manure,
yes,
cow manure, something about that, or other kinds of manure, that's better than nothing. However, beware, cow manure, mostly made from manure from feedlots.
Okay.
Feedlots mostly have steers. They feed them all kinds of mineral for fast growth rate, and steers in particular pass that mineral through their body into the manure. So you have an extra salty solution you're getting into your garden. You may not want that.
No, so it's better to use a sheep manure?
It is, yeah.
Okay.
What about chicken?
Well, chicken's fine.
Okay.
If it's not too raw, if it's raw, it can burn your plants.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Cow manure is fine. It's regular cow manure, especially if it's been composted outside. But they say avoid manures made from feedlot.
Okay.
Compost made from feedlot manures.
And so if you mix the sheep manure with some peat moss and with some of the regular natural soil. I'm sorry, I call it dirt. A natural soil and a little bit of sand. That's
good.
You're good. If you're not in a position to get good compost.
That's right. I find locally that if we order a truckload of sand, I might get in trouble for saying that, a truckload of soil, topsoil, they'll say triple mix, so on and so on. But generally it comes, I find it's far too sandy.
Okay.
I mean, who is really going to sell the really good topsoil from your land?
Yeah.
So they're going to, and quite often they put black marl muck in it to make it look dark.
So you think you're getting a good product.
You think you're getting a good product. Almost no nutrient.
Wow.
Almost no nutrient in it.
So the first step of gardening and the biggest thing you can do is creating your good top quality soil with your compost, and this is the best the process.
That's
and
right.
the lasagna composting sounds like it's pretty foolproof.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, what impresses me is the amount of garden that you actually have here. I mean, you have a lot of land, but you also have a lot of garden as well in order to have those plants flourish and be so beautiful that, wow.
We're going to have Bill Loney back with his wife Dawn for another episode of Gardening with Your Local Experts. See you next time.
Call the Rogers TV viewer response line, email us, or connect with us on social media.
Hi, I'm David Shearman, host of Politically Speaking. Join me for my next guest, Buck Hicks, Warden of Grey County, Politically Speaking on Rogers TV.
This will change the world.
What? There's a family in our driveway.
Wake up!
So you feeling what I'm feeling?
Yes!
Now is the time to choose a side.
I think it's all right to express your emotions.
This is Rogers TV, Grey County.
Hello everybody and welcome to Meaford, Ontario, Rogers Hometown Hockey. For your tonight's match